Guys, welcome back to my channel, A Little Bit of Everything with Erin. Today's Monday, so we'll be vlogging about Willow. I did have some questions about her drain and her liver issues with her bile ducts, so I wanted to jump into that today. As I've said in a couple of our other videos, Willow has issues with her donor liver. She has problems with the internal bile ducts. They are basically shrinking and slowly dying because she's not getting enough blood flow and oxygen to those. So her main bile duct, the one that goes into your intestines, is the only one that's really working, and that one has issues too. It's actually shaped like an S, and they've kind of had to maneuver it, I want to say, to kind of fix that, but it still has some backing up issues, hence why she has this internal-external drain. Part of the drain goes inside of the bile duct so that it helps flow the bile through that duct and into her intestines like we normally need. And when it gets too backed up and it doesn't have enough flow, there's an external drain where it backs into that and it goes into a bag that's about that big, and we just kind of have that attached to her back because this is something that normally adults use, and they would just kind of clip it to their upper thigh. So she can't do that because it would wrap like 3 times around her leg. Anyway, she had to go in on Friday to the IR. On Monday, her labs went right up again, and they were like in the 800s, and these are numbers that need to be like between 0 and 22 and 0 and 50, and they're in triple digits again. So they knew something had to be wrong, and more than likely it was with the drain. So the IR sedated her, and they took her back and they checked the drain, and they saw that it was not draining. It was in the right spot, she didn't pull it, but it was not draining. So they removed that, and she had, because those internal bile ducts, they kind of help the bile just kind of flow through the liver until it can get to the one that swishes it out to your intestines. Because they're shrinking and they're not really working, bile is like pooling in different parts of her liver, and then this irritates the liver, and the liver becomes inflamed, and it's telling the doctor something's wrong by her numbers going up like they did. So with this backup, there was a lot of it, and it's, I don't want to say like sludge, but think of it like that, like it's too much. So they removed the old drain, they kind of helped the flow of it, flushing her, getting that bile through. And then they replaced the drain with a new drain, and the surgeon came out to speak to us. She probably had been back in the IR maybe close to 2 hours, if that. And she came out to the waiting room to see us, and she asked if we knew what her internal bile ducts looked like, because she said they looked pretty bad, and we kind of knew that. That's why she has exception points for the organ donation list. And she said that she didn't think that they would be able to recover because the liver is an organ that can fix itself and heal itself, and we had already come to feel that there's no way that it was going to be able to recover because she does have blood flow issues. Her hepatic artery, which is the main artery of the liver, is pretty much clotted off. I mean, it gets little to no blood flow. She's on blood thinners, and she still has little to no blood flow through her hepatic artery. And then her portal vein, like I've said before, it has that traffic jam in it. So it gets good flow, and then it gets that long stretch of a traffic flow where it's very thin and the blood is just trying to get through there. And then it has good blood flow again. So this break in between where there's good blood flow and good blood flow is really complicating everything else, along with the hepatic artery that's getting like little to no blood flow. So when she told us this, it wasn't really a shock to us. We already came to the conclusion that this isn't going to happen. She needs a new liver to continue to survive. So she was really nice about it. She just wanted to make sure we understood the seriousness of it and how this would affect her future. She also made us aware that because of this issue, she will likely need a new drain every 8 weeks, and she said this is actually kind of typical She does have patients who have external drains, have to get them changed out every 3 months, but Willow will probably need about every 8 weeks. So now it's not gonna be so much of a, oh my God, I need to do this again type of thing. It's a, oh, 8 weeks is coming up. She'll be getting an appointment with the IR and having that drain removed and replaced. So it sucks because she has to be sedated, she has to go under, she gets a breathing tube, you know, little things could happen. She can get an infection and that would just throw everything through the roof. 30 minutes before she goes into the IR, she has IV antibiotics pumped into her PICC line, and that's just a precautionary thing. Like, we don't think anything's gonna happen, but just in case, we're gonna pump her with this hardcore antibiotic. So she's always getting these antibiotics so that she doesn't get sick, but she's only 2, so what if she does really get sick and she needs these crazy antibiotics, but she's now immune to them because she's had them so much. So we live in this weird world where we have to advocate for her to get the best needs and healthcare and all of that, but we also have to advocate for her for them not to overload her with things because she could need it in the future. We just don't know what's going to happen. So, you know, you have to play this weird game. It sucks. And then because it's Willow, this is an outpatient procedure, and they were like, hey, you're gonna be mad. They want to admit her. She's had this done 4 times, and they've admitted her the first 3 times. And I was like, okay, it's fine. I understand. It's Willow. You never know what's gonna happen. I mean, she has one of the rarest forms of rejection. What else is gonna happen, right? So this time I was like, no. And my husband was like, no. Who is requesting her to stay? Because if it was the doctor that actually did the procedure, then she knows that something happened, and if she wants to admit her because of that, then I'm totally fine with it. But it was the liver team who was overly cautious, and I don't mean that in a terrible way. It's just sometimes a little annoying that they wanted to admit her as a just in case. So we asked the nurse, you need to page the liver team and come down here to tell us why they want to admit her, because she's had this done 3 other times. She's never had a problem. She has not gotten an infection from it. And we are probably the best caretakers for her. And being at home is literally the better option, because there are so many germs and infections floating around this hospital. And from the kids that are going to be around her in the other rooms, she's more likely to get sick from another patient in the hospital staying there than she is at home. My husband and my son both had the flu over Thanksgiving weekend. You know who didn't get the flu? Willow. You know why? Because we're overly cautious and we quarantined everybody, hand sanitizer, Clorox, bleach, I mean the whole 9. Like, no germs were coming near Willow, and no germs did. So I'm pretty sure that me and my husband know how to take care of her better at home and make sure she's not gonna get sick. Not only that, if something is ever wrong with Willow, we're always the first ones to call the liver team and be like, this is what's going on. What do you think we should do? And they know that. Like, they've complimented us many of times on the type of care that we give Willow. So for them to want her to stay there overnight just seemed absurd to me. And this is something that I stress in every video. If you feel like they're being overly pushy or overly cautious, you know, let your voice be heard, because at the end of the day, that's your kid and that's your life too. Like, I have other children. I have, you know, a job, and me being stuck in the hospital all the time because I'm not leaving my 2-year-old up there by herself, you know, it gets in the way, and you have to be able to live a life as well. You can't just be stuck in that cocoon of, well, this might happen and this might happen and this might happen and this might happen. Right, but those things might not happen either. And you have to live as all live. You just have to. So they didn't come down to talk to us. They made a phone call to the doctor that was doing the procedure, and they talked to her for a minute, and then she came in and she told us, hey, they asked me a couple questions, and I told them I felt comfortable with her going home today, so they're gonna allow you to go home. They just want labs drawn on Monday just to see if her numbers came down and if that helped, which was completely fine because our nurse comes on Monday. So her nurse came today after physical therapy to change her PICC line dressing, and she got those labs. So hopefully by Wednesday, we'll be hearing some good news. So that's where that is. I'm gonna leave that here because it's been about 10 minutes of me just jabbing your face off, and I don't wanna hold y'all up because I really do appreciate you guys sitting down and watching these vlogs with me. And you know, hopefully another family that's going through something like this will find these vlogs and we'll be able to get some reassurance, help, whatever. Please always feel free to reach out to me and ask questions. I really don't mind answering. Anyway, if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave a comment down below. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my page. And if you would, please hit the like button. We really appreciate it. Until next Monday, guys. Bye.